Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Nintendo Switch games to buy before they become rare and expensive. And we're going to get right into this list with Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma. And you might think that this game that I'm holding up is a Nintendo Switch 2 game, and you would be correct, but it also does play on the Nintendo Switch 1. It says right here in the small print that it contains the Nintendo Switch game and the Nintendo Switch 2 edition game. So you can put this in a regular Nintendo Switch or a Nintendo Switch 2. And the reason why I wanted to cover this game first is because it is a really niche JRPG that's coming out at the beginning of the Nintendo Switch 2 life cycle and at the end of the Nintendo Switch 1 life cycle. And I've noticed that most stores do not have copies of this game. I was able to pick up the last copy from a local Target. I believe it is available on Amazon though, and if it is, I will have the affiliate link for that in the description if you want to help your boy out with a little bit of commission there. But let's keep this list moving with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Ritas Rewind. And from what I've played of this game so far, it is a mix of a beat 'em up and kind of like a bullet hell shmup shooter type of game. Now, I will say that the beat 'em up section of this game that I did play, I only played a little bit of this game, but the beat 'em up gameplay was really good. And then going into the shmup gameplay after that was kind of a little bit of a throw off for me, but I had already heard that that's what this game was going to be. It definitely does have that 90s aesthetic and style to it. It feels like you're playing like a game on the Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis or something like that. And with this game also being, you know, a pretty niche kind of old school type of game, also coming out at the end of the Switch life cycle, I could definitely see this one going up in price over time when it goes out of print and becomes harder to find. Now, the third game on today's list I have talked about in a previous episode before, but it's still holding its value pretty well, and that game is Power Rangers Battle for the Grid Super Edition. Now, there also is I think it's called the Collector's Edition. I don't know why. It's just a standard physical edition of this game that doesn't have any of the DLC characters. This one has all the DLC characters on it, and it's been holding its value for around $40 and up. I think I paid like 25 bucks for it back when I've got it, but I definitely think that over time this one is not going to get cheaper, but will probably only get more expensive as it gets harder to find. But this is really a fantastic fighting game. It kind of has like that tag team style to it. You can do like a Dragon Ball Fighter Z or Marvel versus Capcom type of gameplay. It's a really good fighting game. Do not sleep on this one. This one is good just to have in the collection if you're a fan of fighting games. And for the fourth game, I already know some of you are going to say something in the comments about this, because yes, I did pick up the game key card of Rito Remastered: The Mystery of the Soulless Army for the Nintendo Switch 2, and I kind of regret it now because I don't recommend this one on today's list. I recommend the Nintendo Switch 1 version because I've heard that the Nintendo Switch 1 version actually does run at 60 frames per second on the Nintendo Switch 2, and the game is all on the cartridge. Had I known that, I probably would have got the Switch 1 version instead of getting the key card for the Switch 2, which is going to take up memory on my console, and it's not a true physical game. You have to download it and then use the key card as a way to access and play it. Only good thing about game key cards, I guess, is that you can still sell them or trade them later if you don't want to keep the game in your collection forever. So at least it has a little bit more benefits than standard digital. But yeah, I definitely recommend the Nintendo Switch 1 version. The Shin Megami Tensei series is a really niche JRPG series, and of course this is one of those games that's coming out late into the Nintendo Switch life cycle. And the fifth game on today's list is The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. I haven't played this one yet, but I wanted to recommend it because it also did get the free Nintendo Switch 2 upgrade, which you can download and play this game at a stable frame rate now better resolution. And this is also, you know, another one of those games. I know I keep saying it at the end of the Switch life cycle. It's a Zelda game. There has been a lot of Zelda games that have definitely gone up in price, like the ones on the GameCube, even some of them on the DS. And I also believe some of like those Game Boy Advance cartridges may be kind of expensive to get now. I'm not completely sure on that, but I definitely see this one as one that could go up in value, you know, as time goes on. Games number 6 and 7 on today's list are The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, but not these standard Nintendo Switch copies that I'm holding up. I'm talking about actually the Nintendo Switch 2 editions, because of course those do feature the Nintendo Switch 1 versions on the cartridges, and also the Nintendo Switch 2 versions, which now run at 60 frames per second, 4K when docked, or 1080p in handheld. These games are running and looking better than ever. I personally won't be picking up those just because I don't have that money to justify picking up those again when I already got the Nintendo online expansion pass, so I can just play the upgraded versions of these games that way. But for hardcore collectors, I definitely recommend picking up those Nintendo Switch 2 editions, and I definitely see those holding their value and definitely getting more expensive years down the line. Game number 8 on today's list is actually The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild again. No, just kidding. Not the standard Nintendo Switch version, but actually the Switch version. I believe it's the Japanese or some type of English, Asian English version that has the expansion pass, all the DLC on the cartridge. I know that one is already kind of rare and expensive, but I don't see it dropping in price, so I definitely wanted to recommend it here today. Just like I want to recommend Splatoon 3, but not this standard edition that I'm holding up either. It also does have like I don't know if it's Japanese or Asian English. I'll show it on the screen here, but it also does come with all the DLC expansion, and I believe it does have, I forgot what that one DLC is called, where it's like a rogue-like. Somebody mention it in the comments if you know it, but yeah, I believe it has all that on the cartridge, so that's definitely going to be a more valuable version of this game. And I can't find my case for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe right now, but also there is a version of that that has all the DLC included on the cartridge, so I definitely wanted to recommend those classic heavy hitter Nintendo Switch physical editions that also have all the DLC on them. Some of them may already be kind of hard to find and a bit expensive, but I figured I'd still recommend them here because they're probably not going to go down in price. They probably will only go up. But anyway, that is it for this video. I really appreciate you all watching so much. If you're not already, please hit that subscribe button and notification bell for more content like this. And please drop a like on this video. I will catch you all on the next one.